Effectively, I have 35 minutes, so I will be fast, but you have a recording, and I will have a code demos, but I will explain only just parts of the code demos, not a one-to-one tutorials. And I want to say to the people that are standing that there are lots of rooms just here in the front, and there at the front as well. And I will just keep instructing it. So this image actually was generated yesterday by the Imagine model of Google Cloud. And it was a prompt that built me an image of Bratislava Castle in a drawing style. It took like 7-8 seconds, and that's the image you have it. We have a short intro section. We will see what built with Gemini or Gemini, whatever you pronounce it. And then we will see what is Vertex AI, because this is the name that you will need to understand in order to use Model Garden and, for example, to run function calling, which I want to actually end up using as a demo itself. I'm a Google developer expert, which means that I'm not a Googler. I don't work for Google. I am from Romania, a Hungarian, by the way. Sziasztok. And I work still there in a small city, but I do a lot of presentations. I answer a lot on Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is still a thing, so I found my own answer also on OpenAI models and also on Google models, so they actually crawl the internet and find it out. The rest information is for LinkedIn and so on. Probably you have heard about Bard, but recently they renamed Gemini. They renamed everything into Gemini. So even copilots of Google is renamed to Gemini. So it's very confusing in a way, but you will find hopefully clear information after you hear this information about Gemini. Let's see what knows Bard a bit. You have eventually tried it out. This is the interface. Now it's called Gemini. Often people don't know that if I put the @ sign in here, it actually lets me to use other Google models. Like I can ask about my emails. I can ask about my Google Docs. Did you know that? Okay, good. What if I ask my emails that give me a list of my electricity invoices from Gmail? In a way, I had to write it in a way that my emails are giving back. Hidroelectrica is the company who sends me the electricity bills, and if I run this example, it produces this table. In January, normally it was only one invoice so far, and the number is here. Also, if I ask last year's numbers, is here in the table itself, and references to the emails as well. But also, for example, if I add a prompt, like list the top 10 incidents, because I'm a DevOps engineer as well, and I may have emails about problems, then it can summarize me this service itself in a way that the service when it runs. I prepare the answer because it's faster than for you, and I just switch it. So it tells me when the events are actually happened, and for me, it was important to hear that it took 8 minutes, 7 minutes. So it was something like a high CPU usage or something, or only terminal and so on. But as you see, and I want to demo it, that you can quickly ask questions and figure out how the technology works also in your Gmail or the Google Docs and so on. Let's move forward. I need to be prepared in case the demo doesn't work. So let's skip, honestly. So that's going. Okay, build with Gemini. There are usually 3 models mentioned by the blog post, by all the announcements. But literally, there are more than 120. And these are the most recent ones, and they all constantly change, and they constantly evolve. So if the information you may hear today from me, in April, when there is the Google Cloud Next in San Francisco, used to be in San Francisco, this year is in Las Vegas, they will announce something else as well, or they will bump up the version number or certain information. This era is changing very, very rapidly. And some of the services are not available yet, so you need the whitelist, or you need to be, for example, the ultra is only for research purposes. So if you have the qualification, you can try to sign up. Maybe you have a use case, let's say academia use case, we are in academia. So you may have a use case that you get access to the service itself. What I like it is that the Gemini Pro is a multimodal. So it combines text and image itself. And essentially, it lets you to combine in your prompt 16 images and one video. And that's actually helpful because if you can give 16 image and a prompt, like this is the interface, give me the Python code, it will just do it for you. I'm not saying it's accurate, it will just do it. On the second part, the Gemini Pro, I don't have yet access for it, but I've seen on YouTube demos that the context window lets you to actually add 1,000 pages of PDF. And you can query about your prompt, not about the internet. You have provided the prompt as the 1,000 PDF, and you ask about your prompt. Maybe a company knowledge base or a large automotive documentation or a service manual, something like that. When you start to Google about Gemini and how to use the service as an API, you will be confused. Essentially, the first one you eventually will find is Google AI Studio. AI Studio, when you access it, it will guide you and redirect you to a documentation page. It's not available in European Union and Canada and some other countries who are GDPR-wise much more stricter. Why is the problem and what is the fix for it? They built AI Studio as a consumer product. What is a consumer product? Gmail, YouTube. They want to become a consumer product. As an individual, if you interact with Google, you have rights. You have the GDPR rights. But the solution is the cloud, Google Cloud. On the Google Cloud, you actually interact with the cloud in a business perspective. So business rights and not individual rights. So there are different rights and legally applicable different things. The good news is that you can have a Google Cloud account as a person, so you don't need to sign up with a VAT number and a company. You can just sign up if you are not yet user, also with your key. Also, there are some concepts, different concepts. On the AI Studio, hopefully someday it will be available also in EU, there is an API key. On the different part is a service account key. On the AI Studio, it offers 60 queries per minute for free. On the Vertex AI is actually a paid service, and you pay everything, but there is a $300 credit when you sign up first for your account, or if you get an academia account with your professors, they can sign up. For each student, Google gives like 50 USD in an account to test out services for it. It's just for hello world examples. If you go commercial or research for, you need a lot more to do this. Okay, let's advance. So now we are going to talk about Vertex AI, which is the product group of machine learning, and I will accelerate a bit. Vertex AI has some business users, but hopefully we are developers here. So I will focus mostly on Model Garden, Vertex AI Studio, and some generative AI APIs. And I will briefly mention fine-tuning, distill, and serve if it's there, but normally you can run the full data science job and data analytics jobs on the cloud itself, just it doesn't fit my talk. I don't have the time to actually mention it. Model Garden, this is the catalog that they put together, like other catalogs you have seen on the internet, Hugging Face, for example. This is Google's name, like on the Vertex AI, this Model Garden. It has 3 parts, foundation, open source, and task specific. Essentially, foundation and open source will be covered by me. Foundation models, I don't want to give you Wikipedia information or let's say whatever ChatGPT information. They are multitask, large scale, minimal training. I highlighted only a few. Gemini, I already told you that as a general multimodal, which images, text, and video as well. There is Imagine. My book cover photo was generated by this prompting example when text is converted to images. There is Chirp, where you actually get the audio not transcribed, but generated as a text in a way. And there is embeddings, who knows what is embeddings? Oh, higher. Google it up, like, what are embeddings? Because you need to know what are embeddings. Otherwise, you won't understand the layer of information in the multimodal scope. So Google it up. And there is Cody for code generation. Why I picked Cody? Because people mention me, why I picked Cody? Well, I'm a developer. I want my code improved. But the general suggesters, general completers only use code from internet. It's not my framework, not my coding style. But with Cody, there is a way to actually give my code, run a fine tuning, get my model, not theirs model, my model, and serve it with my framework, my coding style in the model itself, which is able to produce me code in my coding style, in my framework. There is a studio, which is an interface, UI. In America, every naming convention is different. In European, we need to understand what studio means and so on. For me, studio is like a booking.com place of apartment. This is how the studio looks like. Essentially, I won't go into deep of information. You have here the model selection. Now they added also region itself. Use US Central. There are the best models selected in the US Central region. Custom language prompt samples. There is a link in the presentation, and that presentation will be uploaded on SlideShare, so you will have it later. You will have examples which actually, with one click, it puts you the example on the interface itself, so you can eventually try out the technology for this kind of basic prompts. I won't spend time because I think that this is last year's information. In 2024, we have new information. So if you don't know this kind of capabilities of any AI model or LLM model, try to skill up. Prompt structure, it's very important, the ending double column. And you need to figure out in your field of experience this type of specific keywords, which you can learn from other practitioners or from YouTube examples, what exactly need to understand. Like, this is the context of the content of the information, like if it's a text, a question, an answer, category, and an option that you need to build it out. And I can go further. Messages, for example, in a chat prompt components, there are different parts like user part, model part. The context is also a column that you fill in, and example, how should respond the model, the kind of style is also important to run it. And I can also create a screenshot about how you can use different examples of instructing your prompt to actually be better and bad, but this is prompt design, and I'm not a prompt design engineer. So I just give you hints of information where to evolve and ask the model how to evolve your prompts as well. Gemini. It's a multimodal, image, video, text, function calling. Multimodal means that if I create an image and the embedding itself is represented in a vector space, and if I give a text, the same text is near the same embeddings. And you need to be clear in your mind that the binary of the image is being placed, let me use something, placed on the layer of surface, and if I use the text that there is a dog with a red ball, and that information is placed near this text. And that's how the two combine itself in the embeddings vector space. And this is the multimodal concept. And much more, it could be a 6-month study for the academia, how to make it efficient and better. So, multimodal use cases. Info seeking, object recognition, digital content understanding, structured content generation, captioning, description, extrapolation. All about on an audio, video, or image itself. In the multimodal use cases in the catalog, we have seen a couple of examples that let you eventually use images to generate code itself. Let's go to the demo itself. And hopefully I have time to run this through, because there is a lot to this. This is the welcome page of the GCP platform. Eventually, you will have a project here on the top and a search box. And here you can add Vertex AI. And then you get to the interface of the Vertex AI. This is the Vertex AI interface with their own menu, with their own boxes. And you will figure out there is Colab, which is advertised, the Model Garden, Studio itself, which is the UI itself. Going further, the Model Garden, you will find here like 120 models. Normally, Google's own models are the first on the list as a card itself. But if I start scrolling, there should be others as well. There is a distinct category like fine-tunable models, but these are not anymore Google. These are open source models in a way. They are task-specific solutions and much more targeted model itself. Right now, take the information that there is a model garden and you can choose from here the model itself. When I go into the studio, there is a studio menu. This is the landing page of the studio page, and eventually it tells you that there is a language model, there is a vision model, and there is a speech part of it. If I go to the language part, I can do a text prompt or a code prompt. If I want to do a text prompt, I can type here the text prompt normally. I need to choose the region. And here are the models, lots of models, but usually the biggest one and the most recent one is highlighted for you. You can tune parameters and so on. You can even use structured context, and this is actually helping you to construct better prompts because here you give the context, you can build out example, the example input, example output. You can even add test to it in order to run the example for itself. And you can normally run this by code itself. I'm just showing on the interface. The multimodal menu is new, which they advertise right now. And the multimodal menu actually builds you some sample prompts, like extract text from images, describe the knowledge and the example of this image. There is some kind of question like how many apples are in this picture, or extract the text of these products from here and put it in a JSON document and so on, examples which are one-clickable and the example runs for you. This is the same interface for vision, but for vision, you have this button here, Insert Media, where you can actually add your image itself to the prompt itself. I have this example built in Python Flask, which assembles a simple form, and this is my code example. I took a screenshot of this page. I uploaded here as an image, and I put a prompt. You are a Python developer using Bootstrap. Generate all the necessary files to build a solution depicting the image. I have index.html, I have app.py, I have Bootstrap, I have home, images, entity extraction, extracted from the image itself. I created a screenshot from this menu item, and I have a code to actually load information. It's not 100% correct. I can assure you that. But it's a starting point. And I see a lot of smileys in the room right now. So go use this technology on Google Cloud or elsewhere. I'm not saying it's just here. You can use it elsewhere as well. The concept is important. It gets you started faster. Like, don't spend 1 hour to link information, get it, and then work on the provided information. If I open a card from the Model Studio, I'm presented with a page like this. It gives me options to open Language Studio or open Notebook or view code for it. Also on the bottom, as I scroll down, I see the versions of this model. And essentially, these are important because these are the little piece of text which you need to put in the code itself, like which version you want to target for the model itself. Also, there are other examples how to get started, hello world examples in order to run these services. This is the text part of it. The vision part is different and also has the same structure for it. My next tab, sorry for being fast, I want to show you too many information, but eventually these are open source examples and you can read it out. I use the Vision Open Collab and it opened me here in the Google interface. And I prepare you from example, hopefully, yeah, it's connected. Still connected, good. Usually I prepared for the collab for you. Okay, let's see if it's working, this one. So it loads some images from the Google Cloud. It's a cat. Describe the image, that was the prompt. A cat with gray and black stripes is walking in the snow. Okay. Boats, let's see if this, let me grab this URL quickly, okay, because it's my own personal photo and it cached. And I don't want to, I want to make sure that it's using the right URL. Where is my end key? End. Good. Do you know what this photo is about? Who knows it? Do you recognize this photo? I hear Bratislava. Do you know where it is? My GPS took me to here using this intersection today. So in this scene is a color and vibrant intersection. The street is painted with bright pink and yellow pattern. Okay, nothing about Bratislava. The photo is taken in Bratislava. Describe the scene, tell me the location, extract any text. Udronka. That's an elementary school or something like that? Yes. Okay. Match. Good. Do you like it? Good. It validates me as a speaker. Okay. So the code example, as you see, is, I would say, 10, 15 lines of code, but I not mentioned that there is a multimodal, generate content, and the content itself is actually an image and a prompt, so eventually my input, and this is what you need to understand, like image prompt. That's the input. The rest is just boilerplate to get started and validate the service itself. Good, I'm done with this one. There is more. Function calling. So, function calling, it means that I can ask and I can route my functions. So eventually, a framework to connect LLM to real-time data, delegate certain data processing tasks to functions. User input, Gemini knows about function A, let's say it like that, and it decides to use the function, and the function is an external API, and the response is fed back to the Gemini, and then the model output is created. What is essential, and people always ask me, the function runs on your own machine. So it doesn't run on Gemini. The Gemini, you instruct, like, I have 100 functions, this is the prompt. Gemini picks, I need to use 5 functions. It gives you the processing. This is the code. Run your own 5 functions. Give me back the results, and I will use in the final answer. Okay. How many teachers are in the room? Or teachers, or anything? Okay, maybe. I see 2 hands. Okay, let's go a bit further. Gen AI repository. You can take this screenshot because this gives you to the GitHub, where there are more than 100 examples, and the function calling and all the previous example is in this repo. Eventually, if you remember, it's Google Gen AI GitHub, or search whatever you want on Google, and you will find this repo for the record. Gen AI repo. Normally, you will have some folders. So it explains you what is each folder is about it. Language model. If I go into the language model, again, I have introduction to LangChain and Vertex AI, question answering with generative AI models, task classification. These are notebooks that are available in order to play with the notebook itself and so on. And there are these links. These are part of the repo itself. If I go to the text extraction, for example, this is a really long. You have this Vertex AI and language models as a boilerplate starting point. Text generation model from pre-train, you put here the version number, and you give a prompt. Like you instruct the prompt. Like this is an example. Like this is how my input will look like. This is how the output I need. This is actually my question. And here you need to continue. So the model needs to continue. And eventually it will continue with this one. This is compiled right now, so it doesn't have the live example. But I want to get to the Gemini folder because Gemini is the interesting one. And the previous one is like last year information. So it's getting started with AI and using 2024 capabilities. Gemini has this function calling folder, and from this will be my example for the next demo itself. How function calling works. Function calling works in a way that I need to import some kind of defined libraries. Then I need to use Gemini Pro. I need to declare the function in a way that they require. And then I need to create a tool. And tool is the essential part of the Gemini. So you need to create tools. And here I have a function getCurrentWeather. And when I ask next time, what is the weather like in Boston? I include the tool part of the recipe or part of the prompt itself, which means that eventually it will come back and run my function. It won't execute it, it will execute for me. That's the hello world example how it works. There is an app I want to start. Actually, I explain a bit this code first. So I have this is about the database. I want to ask questions about my database. List data sets, list tables, get table function, and run the SQL query. I declare all the functions in the tool. There is some other code itself in order to run the interface. The prompt, please give a concise, high-level summary followed by detail in plain language about where the information in your response is coming from in the database. Only use information that you learned from BigQuery, that's the database. Do not make up information. I had to add BigQuery because otherwise it won't figure out if it's Postgres or MySQL or BigQuery. So one specific word I had to edit for it. Let's run it. Streamlit. Who uses Streamlit? Ah, nice. You should learn it. This is a fast interface in order to build prototypes. It's only 150 lines, all the demo. I didn't design anything out of it. I have a solar system at home. So this database is connected to something like with the solar system. Tell me the solar energy produced yesterday. It will be a bit of patience here. I will explain immediately what happens if I succeed. Hello. Huh? Let's try again. Maybe the hotspot. I've seen there are too many people. I want to avoid any caching, so I rephrase the question. Do you see the, the screen is good, so you see it. Okay. At least I got numbers. So the total solar energy produced by the inverter over the last days, 1567. I bet it's correct because it uses my API, so it did not invent that number. But you can follow up and check with me if you want that number configured. I bet that this is correct. Anyway, what happened in the background? As I mentioned, I listed the tools for Gemini. So Gemini understood that it can call a function, but it cannot execute the function, so it trusted my code to execute the function. It listed data sets. There were different data sets in here. The Fusion Solar is the one that actually holds the information. Then it listed the table. It figured out that this is the Fusion Solar one and not the trademark one. So it figured out that the Fusion Solar one. After that, it figured out that there is a view, I can tell you that this is a view of inverter daily data. And from inverter daily, it got back the schema of that table. And from the schema, it computed a query itself. And the query itself was executed because normally the code is connected to the database itself.
I'm so sorry to cut you, but we are having lots of very good questions.
Yeah.
And if you want to answer them, we should probably wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. I chose to continue the demo. Question, I have time for the launch, in the launch area to answer the questions. And link me and wherever. That's my choice. Don't vote me if I choose them wrong. Okay, the output was here, so 6, 4, 3, and actually did the math in order to run this example. Good.
So the question with the most votes is there a chance that the park location data was pulled from the metadata of the uploaded picture, or Google cleans all the metadata when uploading the picture?
Okay, you did not understand me, but okay. Let me run through slides and then I will answer some of the questions. I won't talk about too much about open source models, but I want to mention because these are closed models until what you see so far. And Google launched 2 weeks ago Gemma, whatever we pronounce it. And this information is available in order to download itself even to a mobile device and use it as a know-how information for you as well. Also on Google Cloud, you will find other providers like Meta and other providers in the model system and in the model catalog itself. The Vertex AI system, eventually there is a publisher. It could be Google, Meta, or other companies. It publishes a model, and that's a publisher model. Some of the models can be fine-tuned and becomes your model. Actually, this is your model, but I did not write it right here. Or you can one-click deploy and get an API in order to run the model itself. And this is the rest of the analytics platform where you can run your data analytics for that. All the models, you will find a model card and a collab if you search for it. So all the Hello World examples is prepared for you. And you don't need to invent it how to create input or output for the model itself. I won't talk too much about Cody. Cody is the tool that I use most because I can use as a coding developer. Can use OnCon, improve model quality, generate coding language variants, generate code for custom libraries. There is a page tune, text tune code models. You can find it eventually, how to tune a model using your specific framework, your coding style, and be your co-pilot, or Duet AI or whatever. And this is trivial because we need to get there that we have first myself, we have first the person that deals with the technology itself. And this is about Vertex AI.
Thank you.
Yeah, conclusions, you can read it. Okay, questions.
The next question.
I'm a developer, so conclusions are for media people.
What are the main differences between GPT-4 and Gemini? Main advantages, disadvantages? This is kind of very long answer, but can you
Advantages, they are competitors, and we need competitors here. So I don't say that this is the best one. I even don't know what is the best one. So we need competitors here for that. Maybe also Llama could go into question. Llama is good at Python. So if you want to generate good, valuable information, Code Llama is a good starting point in order to work with Python itself. Now I see it there. Nice. Thank you for the organization. There is a big screen here if you don't know, but at least now I see it. Yeah.
How will this technology affect DevOps engineers and developers? Should we be looking into changing careers?
As I mentioned, I'm a Stack Overflow answerer, and we need people to create content. We need people to create about the library that was launched this year. The models or who builds the models may crawl the library and the documentation from 2 years ago, but the information that was released this day, they don't know about it. So we still need people to be, let's say, the first group of attack. AI comes later. So in a way for that. In DevOps itself, I don't see it performing, let's say, innovatively because you may launch the technology. And there is so much automation in DevOps, so you just build the pipeline and the pipeline does for you. So eventually you have used some kind of, not AI, but you were used to with the pipeline for it.
Thank you. The next one, how one can know if the model is hallucinating?
I have a different answer for it. Google collected 200 people to train it last year in March about these technologies. They put it in our room in a workshop, and they run a demo, like run this. And I run it, and it was gibberish, everything. It was Latin characters, but gibberish. And they, what's wrong? I mean, you have gibberish, you have, something doesn't work. And that was a lesson. Untrained model answers gibberish. And they need to get our mind that if you don't train the information, you just get random characters. And they spend that moment of life to learn it that is gibberish. And then they told me, add this model, and it already answered about Shakespeare. So gibberish is still, let's say, a Latin character. And if it generates Shakespeare, but it may have a window of gibberish. If your prompt is good, it answers Shakespeare. Otherwise, it will go in gibberish. And this is hallucination. There are technologies, sorry, I need to answer also academia-wise. There are technologies called fine-tuning and distilling. You need to look into these technologies, how to make hallucinations less. And probably you will be the future to actually build out these services. And probably we need to learn two other words about this technology that eventually we cannot name this today, but it will come. And maybe we'll not use distill or something else that will improve the technology itself. We need another invention of transformers, but we don't know yet the name for it. Or at least, I don't know, maybe someone knows.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This is unfortunately all time we have for questions. We need to finish now. If you have additional questions, you can always find the speaker outside of the room and have a one-on-one. This is the best part of the conference.
I want to selfie with you But I will move there because they're so empty here, and it doesn't look good on the photo.
Clapping hands?
Yes. No, not that. This is not a video. Just hands up. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for being a developer. Bad habit to be a speaker as a developer. You cannot follow the rules. You don't answer questions. I have this orange t-shirt to find me. I will be in the launch area because it's very easy way to find me. So I have more examples.